Hey, how you doing? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Chana, if this is your first time here, and this is Jewish Education at Home. So this video is in collaboration with aniveami, which is a Jewish homeschooling curriculum. And I'll put a link below to their website and also a link below to their Facebook group. And we wanted to make this series of videos for you guys. I know there is a big interest in homeschooling. This is a topic that is very close to my heart, transitioning from school to homeschool, because I had such a rough time. And I wasn't someone that was on social media so much at the time. And I really didn't know where to begin. I kind of just jumped in really quickly, and it was rough. I had a rough year. So if I could add some kind of value to the lives of homeschoolers in the Jewish world, right? Baruch Hashem, that's like my goal of this channel and of my videos about homeschooling. With this series, hopefully make this transition a bit easier for you and teach you some things that I learned. So let's get started right away. Here we go. Talking about the school calendar, right? So let's break it down. The school calendar is typically set up, September through June, right? If you're in maybe Australia, I think maybe it starts in January. I don't know. I'm not sure. But whatever your school calendar is, we're in the United States. So it's September through June. And you go for a couple weeks, and then you're off, right? For Tishrei, for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, all that stuff. Maybe a day or two, you're back in school. There's a winter break, and there's a spring break or a Pesach break. And then you're done in June. Maybe a day here off, a half day there you have, right? That's the school calendar. Well, I'm going to tell you, no, you are no longer bound by that system. You are no longer bound by the school calendar as a homeschooler. I hear this all the time. I'm starting in the fall. I'm starting homeschooling in the fall. You're not starting in the fall. Goodbye, starting in the fall, right? You're not. Because homeschooling, the structure of your calendar is so unique and so personalized to you and your life and what's happening in your life at the time and the busiest times of your family. What are the busiest times in the Jewish calendar? How much you can do and when you can do it. There is so much to it, and let's talk more about that. One big place that I kind of got stuck, I don't want to use the word stuck. A Jew is never stuck, right? But I got kind of off track in my head, and I had a really hard time, was not following the school calendar. I worked in a preschool for 6 years. Baruch Hashem, I really loved it. I really felt the mission of it, and it was so ingrained in me, the whole calendar, the whole system of it, that when I started homeschooling, pretty last minute, I pulled out basically last minute. It threw me off, and it got me off track. I guess I just didn't realize how much of my life was controlled by the school calendar and how much my head was in the system of the school calendar until I was released from it, until I started homeschooling, and I was not in that system anymore. So I'll give you one example. When we were in school, and I was teaching and my kids were in school, we would go visit my parents on Sunday, because that was the only day that we could go see them, right? Because we had school the whole week. So we would visit them on Sundays, but then we had to end at a certain point because the evening had to be cut short. We had to get to bed on time because we had school the next day. Even our family outings, the system of school, the calendar, the schedule of school it's just in my head all the time. We have to be back home by a certain time because they have to be up the next morning at a certain time. And that's just one example. Now, I'm not saying that schools are bad. I just want to make that clear. I'm not saying schools were bad. The school that I worked for was a wonderful school. I have nothing bad to say. I'm just stating how it is. And it's something that we don't seem to question because it's so part of our life. For me, growing up, I went to public school my whole life, and I never questioned the schedule of school, right? It's just something we don't question. So it's okay to question these things, and it's one thing that I didn't even think to question when I started homeschooling in my first year. Okay, so if you're saying I'm going to start homeschooling in the fall, okay, I've heard that a lot. We're going to start homeschooling in the fall. We're going to homeschool this year. Well, what does that mean? this year in the fall, right, is you're in the school time. You're in school time, but you are not in school time. You are in your own time. You are in the time that works best for you and your family and what's going on in your life, right? So Baruch Hashem, when they talk about freedom of homeschooling, that's exactly what this means. You have the freedom to homeschool whenever you want and to take a break whenever you want. Baruch Hashem. The learning never stops. Learning never stops in homeschooling. It just changes pace. So sometimes you go quicker and you do a lot. Like I know for us this summer, we are like banging out this Lahavin Lahaskil curriculum. I'm like, yeah, we're going pretty fast, okay? Because in my life, Baruch Hashem, B'Shah Tova to me, I'm like, God willing, the end of July, I'm due to, God willing, give birth. And should be all in good health, God willing. Okay, so I know at that time I gotta stop, right? So we're like banging it out this summer. We're doing real good, and we're still having a whole ton of fun. Okay, it's not like there's summer. They're spending a lot of time outside. We're doing a lot of fun things, but I just know at a certain point I'm gonna have to take a break. So you can prepare for that. That's freedom of homeschooling. You can adjust your calendar, adjust your schedule with whatever's going on in your life or whatever you're feeling. If it's a busy time, right? Pesach time, Tishrei time, those are busy times. And you could slow the pace down at those times. Or you could pick it up in times when you feel like it could be picked up, like for us right now in the summer. Everybody does what works for them, and it's beautiful and it's good, and there's no right or wrong to homeschooling, right? And there's no right or wrong calendar. It just is what it is for you. But I would say start now. Start homeschooling now. Start your learning now. When there's no pressure, when there's no school in session. Because you're just testing the waters now. You're kind of like, okay, it's a pretty relaxed summer, right? Nothing too much is happening. I don't know if camps are open yet. I don't know how that is working. But when things are slow, try, get started. Do something fun. Do something fun with your kids. Try to make it some kind of a learning activity. Don't push it. No pressure on anybody, and see how it goes. I think this is the best time to get started. You don't have to start in the fall, and you're not homeschooling starting this year, you're homeschooling. And let's just briefly talk about this slow-paced, fast-paced. How do you know when to slow down? How do you know when to pick up, right? And I think that's very personal for every single family, because you're going to go with what works for you. I think Tishrei time, I mean, I'm really speaking from my own personal experience in my rough first year, but I know that was probably the worst thing that I did was start when school started. The day school started, I was like, we're starting. Some of the ladies at aniveami were saying that they like slowing down their homeschool pace in the summertime, because that's when the school kids are home and they could see their friends a lot more, or they want their children to be in camp. And that's great. And you do whatever works for you. There is no right or wrong way. If you're like, what am I doing? Am I doing what most homeschoolers are doing? Am I doing it right? Well, yeah, you are doing it right. Here's your answer. You're doing it right because you're doing what is right for you and your family. These kinds of paces you'll find, it just comes naturally with your life, and you'll see what works for you and what doesn't work for you. I kind of fell into this trap when I first started out, and I'm sharing this with you so that hopefully you don't, okay? But I would wake up in the morning, I would like roll out of bed in the morning in the winter time, and I would see all the kids walking to the bus stop, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? We're all like still in our pajamas, they're all dressed, they're all ready to go, they're all ready to learn, and like, what's wrong with me? We're like, my voice is still groggy because I just woke up. But now I'm kind of like, Baruch Hashem, this is our freedom. This is our freedom of homeschooling. So when you hear people say freedom, I like the freedom of homeschooling. That's part of it, is that you're not bound by any schedule. You can pick up and go when you want, or you could sleep late when you need. And winter times, we usually start the day slowly, but we get stuff done, right? We get stuff done. It's just on our own time, and it's on our own calendar. If you're a family that likes to wake up early, do it, right? Like, go for it. That is your freedom. That, Baruch Hashem, is the freedom of homeschooling. It's a different kind of a pace than a school environment. It's a totally different structure. Once the fall starts, you're going to feel that pressure to start, but you really don't need to. You can actually start now. You can start now. You can start homeschooling now and see how it works out and see what your child's interests are, right? See what they like and see if you can kind of learn with them and see what you can learn together. You'll see how it goes, like flow with it. See how things go. I'm not telling you to not do anything. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't misunderstand me. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me or find me on social media, or you could comment here, or you can go onto the aniveami Facebook group and talk to other homeschoolers or talk to us there. Like, we welcome your questions and we welcome anything you have to share. So please feel free to comment, message us, email us. And that's for this video, and I'll see you in the next. Bye-bye.